All right. Well, dude, thanks for hopping on, taking time out of your day to,
Yeah, of
be on
course.
the call here. And so here's how we got here, guys, is I've been talking with Julius. Julius, how long have you been in just insurance with the Alliance?
There was the end of January last year, so a year and 4 months.
Okay. So right at a year, and Julius and I, we've been talking for a while. He's working with Jeff Schultz, and I love Jeff. Jeff's incredible. Brandon Manley, those guys are great. And so Julius started going virtual. We had a couple conversations here and there, and I think it was last week. Like I'm a part of the AMG virtual chat, and or maybe not last week, the week before last week. What did you submit in business 2 weeks ago? Just tell everybody.
It was like 37,800 in
So
um in applications.
So 37,800 in applications. And we have a bunch of new people on here. We got people that have been around for a while. We've got people that are doing, 10 grand a month, 15 grand a month, 8 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month. And then people see and hear something like, oh, Julius did $38,000 in a week. Um, and so I just want to break it down for everybody, man. It's not like you're not an alien. You have an awesome accent. You know what I mean? That probably helps with all these Americans. But outside of that, it's like you're a regular dude where you're putting in the work, you're doing all the right things, you're coachable. So what did you do 2 weeks ago to write 38,000 in premium?
Um, just non-stop activity. Never, you know, just because if I'm dialing until 8 p.m. and I get a big sale at 6:30, I'm not gonna leave at 6:31. Always keeping going and always buying more leads than you have to. Like I did a subscription through for the Ethos leads, and I bought way too many that I could handle. And I'm giving some to my agents, just because it's way too much, you know. So, but it's been it's been really helpful to have so many leads a week just to call, touch base. Sometimes for the most part it's a two call close, but I would say that the biggest part is always being reachable, always touching base, and the biggest thing is just activity. Just always buy leads, always dial in the mornings, afternoons, evenings, whenever you can. Always reach out to them.
Okay, I agree. And let's just unpack it a little bit, man. So you said you're buying a bunch of leads, and you said you got too many leads on your subscription with Ethos. And let's back up even before that. Is it only Ethos leads? Are there other leads that you're getting as well, or is it just like, hey, you're just getting gobs of Ethos leads, and that's what you're working?
Both. So I'm doing a lot of Ethos leads. There's also like another private company I'm doing with some IUL leads, but for the most part with all those, the applications are 37,000 and submitted business a couple of weeks ago. That was all from Ethos leads, like
Okay.
aged $8 Ethos leads.
Okay. So $8 Ethos leads, and then what is your subscription set for every week?
It was set for 75 per week. It
Okay.
doesn't sound like a lot, but it's when you speak with 30, 40, 50% of them and you have follow-up calls and you're doing pendings and all that kind of stuff, it's just like I think I haven't I've only called my leads. I've only called one batch of leads twice, and maybe it was like 20 leads. I called them twice, but like for the most part, I'm only able to like call them once and send a text, because by the time it's like end of the week, I'm submitting applications, and then by the time Monday comes around, I have a new batch of leads. I'm just exhausted. So
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
moving forward, I'm gonna have to do maybe 40 or 50 leads for the week.
Okay, gotcha. So, but just for everybody on there of like, okay, I want to get the same results that Julius is getting. Okay, 38,000 2 weeks ago. Do you know what you wrote last week?
Yeah, I could find out. Um, yeah, last last week I did 19,000
Okay.
in
So
submitted business.
submitted 38,000, then submitted 19,000, and 75 ethos leads a week. You're getting the $8 ethos leads.
Hmm.
Okay. And you even feel like maybe 75 is a little bit too much, but
Hmm.
I mean, what are you spending? I mean, $8 a lead times 75 bucks plus
2,100 a month.
$2,100 a month. Okay. And submitting over 8,000, or excuse me, over 10, $19,000 a week past couple weeks, which is awesome. So you're buying those leads. And then what is your schedule look like? Like, help everybody understand, like, okay, like, let's say we have somebody on here that's like, okay, I want to be like Julius. I'm going to buy 75 ethos leads a week. And then, Monday morning, they get into the office or they start dialing. Like, what does your schedule look like?
Yeah. So my schedule is so I'm in Central Time, so that can be a little because a lot of my leads are East Coast leads, so it can be kind of tough. But 8:30 to 11, I'm dialing, and then I'm doing pendings and recruiting calls from 11 till 1, and then 1 till 4 I have a break and I hang out with my wife and son, and then 4 till 8 p.m. I'm doing dials again.
Okay, got it. So 11, or excuse me, 8:30 to 11, just straight dials. And then 11 to what did you say? You're doing pending stuff?
11 till 1 is
Okay,
pending and recruiting.
gotcha. And then 1 to 4, you hang out with the family, hang out with your little
Yeah.
one, your wife, and then you get back into the office. What do you guys eat dinner at like 4?
No, no, I eat dinner afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, when I'm
You
done.
just you just eat eat after you make all your
Eat
dials.
caffeine. Yeah, I have two empty. This is what I'm eating for the day. I have two empty coffee cups in front of me.
Word. Um, nice. That's really helpful, I think, for people to hear. And how many dials would you say that you're getting through in a day? Like, because we like I said, we've got new people, we've got people who've been going for a while. We've kind of got everybody. And here's what I think. I think we all have the same leads. Like we all have, like anyone could go buy 75 ethos leads a week. Okay. It's not like there's a barrier of entry there. The difference between submitting 38,000 or 19,000 or 10,000 or even $5,000 a week, I really just think for a lot of folks comes down to, what is their routine and really like what is their work ethic and what is their attitude. And so you're buying these leads, you're calling through these leads. Obviously, like you've got skills, you're good on the phone, you know how to do this. But like what is when you start the week, or like for somebody I completely lost my question, by the way, Julius. But
That's good.
when you what makes you different? You know what I mean? When you're talking to people, is there anything that makes you different? Are you just
No,
dialing more? Here's
I'm
here's
not
the
different.
question is come back to me here is how many dials do you think you're getting through in a daily basis?
In a day, uh, maybe maybe 100 on average. Maybe
Okay.
100 on average. I
Okay.
mean, every third lead is answering.
Yep.
Sometimes I have a 10-second call and reschedule. Sometimes I have an hour call and submit an application.
Yep.
Um, and then I have appointments in between. So like my 8:30 to 11 dial time, I may have three appointments from the days previous. So I may only get 20 dials in. Um, but and I'm only really dialing them. It's kind of frustrating because like I did 75 and Monday comes, and then I download 75 leads into my CRM or import it into my CRM, and then it was last week I had 75 leads that I was going through, and it was Thursday, and I'd gone through 38 of them, and I was so busy. I was like, how could I possibly? And that was only one. I was only a single touch, like a double tap, call them twice, but like I never call them again because usually you want to call them in the morning and evening. But I only like I was just like, how am I going to do this? But like, yeah, on average, probably say 100 a day, maybe 80, 100 a day, something like that.
Yep. Less if you're putting in applications, having long
Yeah.
conversations, all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. And I will tell you, man, like that's really been my experience too with Ethos. Is like a lot of these people answer, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of really easy conversations to have in there. Um, it's just so like, hey, you might not get through a ton of dials, um, but it's because you're having a lot of conversations, you're putting in applications. So maybe average like 100 dials a day. And then like when you're calling somebody at Monday 8:30 in the morning, you call me, I answer. I'm busy, I'm like, hey man, call me tomorrow. Do you schedule stuff between 1 and 4, or that's like blocked off
No,
family
but
time?
no one gets anything between 1 and 4.
Okay, so that is like straight up
Nothing.
family time.
Yeah, no one. Even if I speak with someone and they said the only time I have is between 1 and 4, I'm not. That's my sacred time.
Yep.
That's my number one priority is having between 1 and 4 off. Outside of that, I mean, I'll call them on a Saturday. So I have like Fridays. I finish on Fridays at like 3 or 4. And then I have Saturday morning between 9 and 12. And
Okay.
again, so this Saturday I submitted I had one application and that was 11,000 in premium for one application. Um, and that was my second call of the day, and that was it. I called three, like 2 or 3 leads on Saturday. It was over 3 hours because I had an application, calling carriers, pendings, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'll dial on Saturday mornings because a lot of people answer their phones then because they're working age between like 35 and 60. So usually Saturday mornings they're at their kids' t-ball or whatnot. So Friday afternoons aren't really a good dial day, so I just change that to Saturday mornings.
Okay. So basically, Fridays you don't do that 4 to 8 dial session. You
No,
just shifted that over to Saturdays.
yeah.
I think that's smart. And when you're talking with these people, like where are you going for like one call closes? Are you almost always shooting for a one call close and then it turns into a two call close? Or like what does your process look like there?
That's a good question. I think I'm always following the script of a one call close. Always asking the next questions, always asking the follow-ups, and but it just inevitably, probably 90% of my applications go to a two-call close, which I'm comfortable with. I like it better because if they answer the second call, there's like a 70% chance, 80% chance that we're getting an application in. Plus, if they answer my second and third call, then there's a really good chance they're not going to cancel because they're investing a lot of money and a lot of time in talking to their life insurance agent, which no one wants to talk to. So if they're talking to me 2 to 3 times, like they're not going to cancel it.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like a 75-year-old fine expense client, that's a one call close. They're going to forget you the next day. But for someone like this, it's a multiple call, maybe over. That's why with all my new leads, a lot of my applications, a lot of my big money applications are done on Fridays because I speak to them Monday, Tuesday, and then may have a specific health issue that I'm not sure what kind of table rating or preferred standard they're going to be at. So I call the carriers and do underwriting risk assessment Tuesday, Wednesday, get back in touch with them Wednesday, Thursday. We go over pricing and options, and then we kind of finalize everything on like a Thursday or Friday. So like last week I had done 3,000, I think it was 3,000 in one app until Friday. And then Friday, Saturday, I'd done 16,000 just because you kind of like building, snowballing everything, all the pre-work to a big end of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like you put in 16,000 a day, but really that was the whole week's worth.
It was the whole week's
Uh,
worth, yeah.
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 And so a lot of these are pushing over to a two call close. What is like how do you stay organized with the leads? Because you're getting 75 a week, you're calling through as many as you can, having lots of conversations, which like, hey, these are all really good problems to have. I think a bunch of people on here probably want to have those same problems. My suspicion is like they're maybe not as disciplined with the dial times and some of those other things, and we can talk about some of that. But how are you staying organized with all these leads, all these conversations? People no showing you on the second call. People, all of this stuff. Like, are you using Google Calendar? Is it all through a CRM? Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do to stay organized with all these people?
Yeah, so I have a CRM, a Go high level CRM I spend $100 a month on. And that's great. I would say the biggest thing for my ethos leads, I would say my Google Calendar. So it's everything in my life goes into Google Calendar. I have probably 20 events a day, 25 events a day. So I do it all by Google Calendar. That is how I structure my life. Um, and with the ethos leads is I just as soon as I get in a call with them, I have my Google Calendar on my computer, type in follow up call or whatnot, and then add their email into the Google Calendar into the invite, and then invite them. Or if I'm doing like a Zoom or a Google Meets, I attach that. So it's pretty convenient. But yeah, with everything, it's probably I'm leaning on my Google Calendar probably 80% of the time with everything.
Would you be willing to share your screen and show us your calendar real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
Here's what I want to show people. Number one, I want to show them your calendar because I do the same thing, bro. Google Calendar, like somebody's like, oh yeah, call me back later today. I can't believe that there's agents out there that are like, oh, I'm just going to remember to call this person back. Okay.
Yeah,
Like you are not going to remember to call that person back. And then you're potentially like that person is probably going to buy life insurance. They're just not buying it from you because you never called them back when you said you would. Okay.
exactly. And that's the thing. That's the thing because a lot of these people, how do I do this?
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah. It's pulling up. There we are.
Yep. So, and this is a light week. Obviously, we're just getting started. And you got my 1 to 4 blocks here, and I got my wife working Tuesday, Friday, so I'm finishing at 4 o'clock. Um,
Yep.
and we have a
So
birthday. This week is a little bit of an anomaly, but you'll see I have when I'm calling in the morning here, I'll schedule between 4 and 8. I'll have probably 5 or 6 appointments from when people get back from work, and then
perfect.
yeah, it's copy and paste. So I have some people from last week. Let's see. So all my no-shows get into this. So no answer, kind of do a bit on my Google Calendar, a little bit of a description, different no-shows, information about them.
So pause right here. So
Mhm.
I want to dig into that particularly. So a bunch
Yeah.
of your people that have no showed you, you go put. Do you like? Let's say that you have an appointment. Like you got this appointment coming up with, or maybe you already had it because the time change or whatever. But you got it with William Patton, right? The yellow one right there on Monday the 12th.
Where is this? Oh, that was last week. Yeah.
Okay. So like
Yep.
let's say William no shows you. Okay.
Uh-huh.
You just go ahead and move him over to Saturday. Like you just drag and drop the appointment over to Saturday and then you hit up all your no shows on Saturday.
That was just last week. So I called them all maybe an hour after they missed the appointment, and then the end of the day, and
Mm-hmm.
then the next day, and then a couple of days later, and then a week later. So I'll be moving these around. So I move these around from Monday to Tuesday to Thursday to Saturday. And whenever I get in touch with them, if I don't hear from them like 3 or 4 times, I'll send them a text. Um, and just kind of put them on the back burner. If they reach out to me, they will. But I'm getting 75 new leads on Monday, so
Yep.
it's not too
Yep.
much of a worry. I'm only focused on people who give a
All
shit, who want to get something in place.
Yeah, for sure.
My job
I
isn't to
think
like arm wrestle someone into getting something that they're going to cancel a week later. I don't want to do that.
for sure, man. And I think that this is really helpful. So you scheduled the appointment there, and I want to have you schedule one to show people how to send the email invite real quick. But before we
Yeah.
do that, so you'll schedule it. You'll have the phone call with them, and they no show whatever. Let's say that they no show,
Mhm.
and I think that this is a like when people are going virtual, like you just have to expect it. Like 40 or 50% of the people are going to no show you. Okay. And when they no show Julius, here's what I want you guys to get and understand. He has a mental plan, okay, and a plan that he implements where he is going to follow up with them an hour later, you just said, right?
Mhm.
So an hour later, and then probably, and then again at the end of the day, okay, because here's what happens, and Julius, you know this, but like you have an appointment with someone, it's at 12 o'clock, they just straight up no show you, and we have so many new agents, they get no showed, and then they just think, oh, I lost the sale. Like,
Yeah.
no, you did
I just
not.
take it personally. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't lose the sale. Try them an hour later. Just move them in your little calendar. An hour later, shoot that person a call. It takes you
Mhm.
30 seconds. They don't answer again. Put them in at the end of the day between four, for Julius, like 4 and 8, but really like, hey, let's say you only work till 5 or 6 or whatever. Just hey, at the end of the day, try calling all those people. And then they no show you then, and then you move them to what, the next day at the end of the day or
Yeah.
the
So I'll call them like the next morning. So like as an example, Diane, she didn't answer. And then I'm gonna move her down here around. She's older, so I'll probably do a little early, maybe like 5:30 or 6. If she doesn't answer, then I'll call her first thing in the morning, like 8:30 or 9. And then again in the afternoon, and then I probably won't call her back until Thursday or Friday, and then I'll call her again on Saturday morning.
Yep. So you're moving these people around in your calendar to give
Yeah,
yourself
just exactly,
reminders.
just like
Yep.
that. Yep,
And it's the easiest thing, guys, to do this, and it's free. Google Calendar is free. Okay.
that's
So if
awesome.
you're, yeah. And real quick, too, I like that you do this. Go pretend to schedule an appointment with me real quick. So just throw me in there. I'm a lead. Um, and I'll give you I want you guys to see what ends up
So I have a
happening.
Google
So,
Meet.
okay.
I have a
So you
Google
put,
Meet that automatically because Zoom, you can't really do. I mean, you can add a Zoom link, but it's just easier to press a button and get a Google Meet thing. So I have like $6 a month for a private Google Meets. It's a sales call, so I'll do yellow, add guest. and then
Just put Nick at legacylife.co. So here's the thing, guys, is this is scheduling a meeting, and then I'm going to get an email notification of the meeting. Okay.
and then
Watch. It's going to,
save.
when he hits save, look, it's going to say, would you like to send uh, email invitations? Okay. And the answer is yes. Okay. And I'm going to get an email now to my inbox of, of this meeting that I just scheduled over the phone with Julius. And this is what's happening to your clients. Okay. And it's not going to automatically go into their calendar, but for some of them it might. Okay. Depending on whatever type of calendar that they use. But I just got an email from Julius with an email invite. Now, here's
Yeah.
my next question, just because I do a lot of the same stuff, and we don't talk about this a lot. But when you reschedule them, like let's say I no show you, okay, are
Mhm.
you sending another email notification, or are you hitting the don't send button if it's a reschedule?
Yeah, I don't send. I call back when I'm not expecting it from a different number.
Got it.
Oh, hey
Cool.
Nick. Yeah, this is Julius here with AMG Financial. Just giving you a call from my office line. Seems like we may have gone back and forth about your, appointment. I know obviously life is completely busy. Do you have a couple minutes? As easy as that,
Yeah, that's perfect.
you
That's
know?
perfect. Good stuff, dude.
And if they say, if I mean, I'm not again, like I don't, because I did, with the final expense leads that I was working, back in the day, it was very like emotionally kind of like there's like always like an emotional kind of like rope you'd pull with the conversation, the flow of the conversation. But with these people, it's a lot more transactional. You still have to build the why and build the emotion, but like if they want life insurance and you're giving them every opportunity to schedule something with you and to get something in place, it's going to happen. Inevitably it's going to happen. If you're friendly, if it's a business casual, I got this from you. Everything, by the way, every single thing that I am doing and all the success and all the submissions and all that kind of stuff is because of you, because I just copied and pasted everything that you and David have done. So um I guess I'm just a Nick. I'm a wish.com version of Nick Greco, if you could say that. Um
Well, you're putting in the work, bro. That's the
but
main part.
it's like if I'm doing everything I need to do to call them, do follow-ups, message them on my CRM. Can you still see my screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. So this is a guy that I got to let's see, go to a um um Safrina. Okay, I remember this conversation. Yep. So she actually no, I did that was an application. But anyway, like I have a CRM where I can message people on. And if I message them from a couple different numbers and they're like, oh yeah, hey, it's I've been completely swamped. Yeah, hey, no problem at all. Obviously, life is crazy. Life happens. I just sent on my business card again. It's me, my wife, my son, all happy, smiling family. Again, got that from you. It was used to be just me and my face, but now I'm like, oh man, Nick Greco's business card is genius because it's like a whole family thing. So I do that just because of that's what you put in. I just message them. But again, if you're putting the effort, the touch points, and they're really busy with work and family. That takes up, as I know, family and work takes up 95% of your time, right? And if you're trying to get life insurance in place, it's a necessary evil. You don't want to do it. You know you have to do it. You want it as convenient as possible. So if I'm calling you and I'm saying, hey man, I know this is really annoying for you to do. You got a lot of other priorities going on. This is going to be a one and done. I'm doing all the legwork for you, calling the carriers. All I need is 20 minutes so we can get an application and see if you're even approved in the first place. And then I can just send you a quick text if we need any other documentations or an interview or a med panel or anything like that. But what I can promise you, Nick, is that I'm going to do all the legwork for you. If you don't want this, like tell me you don't want this, and I can just move on to someone else who can prioritize this for their family. But at the end of the day, if you want something like this to make sure that your family's protected, I'm going to be your broker for life so I can help you get this in place. And people are going to drop their shoulders and relax and say, okay, perfect, thank
Yeah,
you.
dude,
But if you're,
100%.
there's no way that you're going to put in this much effort to people because my goal isn't to like get someone from a 50% to 100%. My goal is to get the cream off the top. I want 2 or 3 applications per batch of 75, and that's all I care about. Because these people have intent. They know what they want. My job isn't to have a full call conversation and let me just speak with my kids. Let me speak with my husband. It's like, okay, great. Like let's all speak. You've been thinking about this for months, right? Literally 3 months, because that's what this was sent in 3 months ago. You've been thinking about this for 3 months and you're still not ready to put an application in. Like, I'm not going to arm wrestle you in getting something in place. I want to speak with the people who have intent and who want to do this. So if you're doing the touch points, sending the text messages, the business cards, giving them genuine compliments, having a great conversation, following the script, it's going to fall into place. I'm not special.
100%.
I don't bring up my accent. I bring up my accent and bring up Australia, or they bring it up maybe like every fourth or fifth application. It never comes up. It's just a
Yeah.
conversation about how I can help solve their problem. And if you just do that, if you just follow the bouncing ball, the touch points, because they're all going to be busy. These aren't final expense clients who are home all day, every day. 90% of the time you call someone and say, "Hey, I'm at work," and you call me back at 5:30. No problem, John. I can do that. Sounds good. Here's my business card. Is there any reason why you wouldn't want to answer the call today at 5:30? No? Perfect. I'll see you then.
Dude, that's solid. I love it. And I know you've got because I'm looking at your calendar here, you've got
Mhm.
a meeting here in 4 minutes. So you could stop
No,
the
he
screen
he
share
no
and
we no you're good. We put that back till 4:30. He actually texted me. He said that he's got a work thing. He's got to do it.
gotcha.
He's got to reschedule. So well, you got me for the next
Gotcha.
30 minutes.
Cool. Well, here's the thing, man. I think so far this has been really, really valuable for people because just seeing the calendar, seeing how you do it, knowing that you're disciplined with your dials, like you're not doing anything different. You're not buying different leads. Like we got a question in here, like, hey, what's the CRM? It's go high level. Do they generate leads? No, we're just doing this from Ethos leads. Um, if any of you guys have questions for Julius, put it in the chat. Let them know. And then what would you say? I do have a question here that you can kind of go on for a while, but
Mhm.
um, when you first started selling virtually versus now, or somebody who's brand new and they're on the struggle bus. They're on the life insurance, just struggle bus. Like you feel like nobody answers, whatever. Like they're having all sorts of problems. Okay. What advice do you give to somebody who's there, or even yourself when you first started selling virtually or period? Like how do you get from, either brand new or on the struggle bus to where Julius is at, putting in 10,000 a week, 19,000 a week, $38,000 a week, worth of premium?
Yeah. So I was actually thinking about this yesterday, and it's a lot harder. It's it's a lot harder to actually implement, especially it's a mental thing. The thing I would say is don't take it personally and don't be result oriented, be input oriented. So don't at the end of the week for me, now it took me a long time to get here, but I don't care if I only submitted 3,000 for the week or if I submitted 33,000 for the week. My satisfaction with my input is still going to be the same. I did everything I could do. I followed it because I know the next week's going to be bigger because my input's going to be the same. So all I care about is what's the next most important thing that I can do with my dials. Do as much activity as possible. If I only follow what my calendar shows me to do between 8:30, 11, 11 to 1 to 4 block, and then 4 to 8, if I'm doing that day in, day out, week in, week out, that's all I care about. And it took me a long time to get there. Just be always focused and only care about what your input is because the output it's not really in your control as much as obviously you have a rule of thumb: work more, work less, make less. But I'm always the only times I'm really disappointed at the end of a week is when I either wasn't disciplined enough or I had to cut away from work early for X reason or whatnot. I'm always just be internally uh, satisfied with your process and with your step by step and your input. Aside from that, like you can't control if your client does the e-signature, if they call you and cancel, you can't control that. You can do what you can do stuff to increase the odds, but at the end of the day, the only thing that you have 100% control over is your input. So that's what I would say is the biggest thing for me. For me to have the production I do every week is just attack hyperactivity because that's the only thing I can control.
Yeah, that's really, really solid. And I think so. You're saying focus on the activity, not the results, because if you focus on
Yep.
the activity, the results are going to take care of themselves.
Yeah. If you focus on the results, you're just gonna go crazy. You're gonna go completely insane if you focus on results. Again, you can be focused on results if you go for a run because you can control the results. You can run for however long you want, and you're, oh, cool, I ran 10 miles or whatever. But with sales and selling to someone, especially over the phone, especially in different state, someone who you've never met, like there's a lot that's out of your control. So if you can only control what has been um put in front of you in terms of like a plug and play situation, because this is all like I didn't create any of this. I copied this all from you and from the people in front of me. So if I just do what I'm told to do and do that to the best of my ability and always be coachable, then like at the end of the day, I mean, what else can I worry about?
Yeah, for sure, man. What else? I think that's really, really good. And I think that's really, really important for, I mean, new people, people that have been around for a while. Like, hey, if you just focus on the activities, the results kind of take care of themselves. What else? What else are you doing daily basis, or what else do you think is valuable? Like, if I was a brand new person, and let's say I'm okay, Julius, I'm going to focus on the activity. I'm not going to worry about the results, just the way that you taught me. What else do you think I can do to improve, improve the outputs? Like, okay, I'm going to focus on the inputs. What else can I do to improve the outputs? Like, do you focus quite a bit on the script, on closing? Do where do you put your focus? Or is it more of just like, hey, I just know if I have enough good conversations, and this is kind of how I think too, but if I have enough good conversations, like, dude, there's enough people in those ethos leads, period, end of story. They're just ready to rock and roll. They just need
Mhm.
somebody cool. You know what I mean? Someone who's a professional, who's persistent, who's nice, who's going to make it easy on them, but just like will walk them through the process. But, as far as yourself, and if you're talking with somebody, what do you focus on? Like, do you focus on, trying to nail the script down and have that really good? Or like, where do you put your focus maybe in coaching somebody new, if you feel like they're maybe putting in the work, not getting the results?
Yeah, one thing I would say is that I make it pretty business casual. One thing I have been using for the past few weeks, maybe the past month, that's helped a lot is I tell them pretty much straight up. I'm like, hey John, a little about me. I'm not I don't consider myself in sales. I'm not going to try and sell you on something. I'm not going to try and arm wrestle you into getting something that doesn't make sense for you and your family. If you value this protection for your family, it seems like you do. All my job is to be as valuable and as helpful to your family as possible. And all I'm going to do, I work with 30 different A-rated carriers. 9 times out of 10, I can get you the best coverage or the best price in the country. If you want to, get something in place, I'm more than happy to take you through and show you best options possible so that we can see if we can get you approved and something in place to make sure you're protected. And if this is something that you don't want to get in place, like I'm not the guy that's gonna keep pushing and pushing and pushing. You're not gonna hurt my feelings if you tell me to screw off. My job is to make sure I can be there and be as helpful to your family as possible. I say that straight off the rip, and you can hear in their voice. They're like, and I said, I always ask with a question at the end of it. I said, do you think would that be helpful to you at this stage? And they always say,
So,
for the most part, they say yeah. And it's I because it just takes away all the stress and all the sales air from the conversation. It's just like a regular conversation, you know.
yeah, yeah, no, dude, I think that's really good. You're basically
That's what
getting a
I do.
commitment from them of like, hey, I'm going to help you if this is important to you. Is
Yeah.
this important to you? And then they're
Mhm.
like, yeah, all right, cool. Then I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
And it makes it smooth and easy. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I
Because I've
like
had a
that a
lot of
lot.
like final expense conversations where like I'm just so like I'm really pushy and like I listen to the call afterwards and I'm just like, ugh, like when you have a like when you, I'm just like having a shower. I'm just like standing in the shower for 20 minutes. It's like, girl, why did I say that? But like with this, it's a lot more relaxed. These people are a lot higher intent, and the conversation just flows a lot smoother when you put everything on the table early on. You know, and a lot of the time you'll kind of save yourselves, 2 3 hours of struggle or follow ups and carrier like and pendings when you say that because they're like, oh yeah, I'm not really interested. I got this through this carrier. I bundled it with this. Um, you know, so it's more of just being able to be there to kind of serve them, um, as opposed to being the used car salesman trying to like convince them to get something in place. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, or spending 3 days like Oh yeah, that sounds good. See if you can beat my price. And then you go through all this work to try to beat
Yeah.
their price. And they're not
Yeah.
even
Email
serious
me
about it.
something. No.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Do you ever send emails? Do
No.
you ever send? No.
I
Good.
actually I do I've only sent maybe two or three or two emails with prices, and it's been very like specific circumstances when I've spoke with them at least twice.
Okay. So you kind of
Spoke with
have
them at
that
least
rule.
twice. Yeah, if they in the first call can say, okay, you just email me. Like I'm not gonna no. I'm not I tell them like I'm not a quoting tool. If you wanna you can go on Google, get an expensive quote that you're not gonna get approved for. That's not my job. My job's to make sure I can get you something approved. Like I straight up be straight up with them. No one's
Yeah.
offended, no one's upset, no one hangs up.
Yeah. No,
It's just
you're
like
just
I'm just
being you're just being real with them. And how
yeah.
do you let me ask you this, man? This is one that I think new people run into is how do you go about handling somebody who, let's say their expectation, they're 55 and their expectation is that they're going to get $1 million, and then they've got health stuff where it's like they're not getting, they like ain't no way they're getting $1 million. Like, how do you handle pivoting from hey, this term conversation to hey, it's probably got to be final expense
Mm.
type of a policy? How do you handle
Yes.
that?
So I go back to their goals. I figure out what their goals are. And if he says if I know and he's like, oh, you got COPD and I had cancer 5 years ago. And he's like, I want $1 million term policy. I'm like, oh, really? I make kind of a joke out of him, like, oh, like, why a million? Why not 2 million? Like, why not why not 500,000? Like, how does that, why is that such a good round number to you? And they always say, like, oh, it just sounds good. I'm like, okay, so there's like, you're just messing with me. Like, okay, no problem at all. And I kind of explain the difference between term and whole life. And I say, have you considered? Because usually they've gotten off a term from like their 30s that just expired and they're expecting that same price for that same product. I'm like, you
Yep.
do understand, John, that like that the older you get, the more expensive it becomes, right? Like, yeah, I do. So, okay, cool. I just didn't want to give you any kind of like sticker shock, and then you would be totally offended, then hang up. Were you aware of the difference between term and whole life? And he was like, yeah, a little bit. I was like, okay. I mean, would you would you be okay if I kind of explained this to you just for a couple of minutes, the difference, and then I kind of go into the terms high price for the low cost, or the high coverage for the low cost, and it's very strict with health. And I go the whole life, it's permanent, X Y Z. And I said, complete transparency, John. With your health, I work with, as I said, I work with 30 different A-rated carriers. No one's gonna get you approved for this term coverage. And I kind of go into what his goals are. I'm like, so you were telling me before that you wanted to make sure that your mortgage was covered, right? He was like, yeah. I was like, okay, so let's say he has a $300,000 mortgage that he needs covered. I was like, okay, so what we can do, I don't kind of like put them into a corner. I always say what a lot of my clients have done in this situation. So it kind of takes the pressure off him to make a call. So what a lot of my clients have done in this situation, John, is that if they can't qualify for term and covering the whole mortgage amount, what we'll do is do a mortgage payment protection as opposed to a mortgage protection, um, where we can get the payment covered of the mortgage for a certain amount of months or a certain amount of years. So it gives Susan some breathing room to figure out what she's going to do with the house, whether it be get a job, move in with kids, sell the house, something like that. So she'll have, if we can get some whole life coverage, $50,000, that's going to make sure the mortgage is paid for 2 to 3 years, as opposed to you not being qualified for something that's unrealistic. Does that make sense? And then usually I get them on board with like a mortgage payment protection, which is just whole life, like spread out over the payments. That it's in their budget and they get qualified for it. So
Yep.
that's how I can kind of pivot from there.
Gotcha. No, that's really good and helpful.
Yeah.
Sweet deal, man. Anyone else got questions? We got one question in there. How long have you been doing this? You answered at the beginning, but go ahead and answer again.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been in life insurance for since the end of January last year. I was doing in person in home until August, and then I transitioned to virtual, and then I've been doing virtual since then.
Nice.
So
Very
what
cool.
is that? 8 months, something like that.
8 months of being virtual.
Yeah, 8, 9 months of being virtual. Still got a lot to learn. Bouncing around different kind of trying out different lead types. You know, it's kind of a balance between all leads are different, and it doesn't matter what lead it is because you still have to work it. but different leads target different demographics, and different demographics have, like age and income and all that kind of stuff have different stickiness.
For
So,
sure. For sure. And is it your main lead source is Ethos, and then you've got that other
mhm,
company.
yep. But the
Nice.
internal, like the integrity leads on the integrity lead center, it's Ethos.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I would agree, dude. It's just crazy how many of those people answer. Here's another question here. Walk us through your first 30 seconds of the call.
Yeah, I have a script. I'll show you my script. It's copy and paste from let me see. Um Here we go. How do I show this? For the 1-year-old, I'm terrible with technology. Alrighty, can you see this?
Sir?
Yep. So this is my script, copy and paste from Legacy Life. As you can see, the up top, it's Legacy Life virtual script up here. I kind of personalize this, so this is my first 30 seconds. I'm going to zoom in here. So hey Nick, it's
Yeah.
Julius. Just getting back to you. You recently filled out a life insurance application through Ethos, but it looks like it never got finished. Was it just too expensive, or did it kick you out for health reasons? What happened with that?
Yeah.
And I have maybe like 5% of the time I have people hang up then in that first couple sentences. I don't really get a lot of hang-ups then, just because my tonality, I sound very curious. I'm a real person. Um, and then it doesn't matter what they say. If they say yes, no, indifferent, already got something in place, whatever. It doesn't matter what they say. I always jump into this. I say, yeah, well, the reason I'm reaching out to you, John, was because the form you filled out, it only shows you one of the options. So for some reason, the AI generated quoting tool doesn't do it correctly. I'm actually the local agent here in Tennessee assigned to get you the lower pricing. Would that be helpful at all? And that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're off the races straight away. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, basically, like right there, like that first 30 seconds, you just need to keep them on the phone. And this does a good job of that. And then, what David calls it permission to engage, right? Like you just, hey, the form you filled out showed one of the options for some reason, blah, 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 blah. Is that going to
Hmm.
be helpful?
Yeah,
Yeah, man, that'd be helpful for sure. Permission to
yeah,
engage, great. Now you just run into a regular conversation, and like you said, it's business casual. Like you're not
yeah,
their lawyer. You know what I mean? You're also not their buddy in the backyard drinking beers, but you can keep it pretty casual. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I think that's really, really good.
yeah.
And then right after that, they say yes, then you just run into the I'm a broker or
Yeah, exactly. Because I think I'm calling from Ethos, and I mean, and 9 times out of I'm probably half the time when I get this first one out, and they're going to say, yeah, it was too expensive, that the price was too high. And then I kind of go into this, and then as soon as they say that, they still think I'm working with Ethos, right? I'm working for Ethos. So yeah, I'm a broker. I work with 30 different A-rate carriers. So 9 times out of 10, John, I can get my clients the best coverage and the best price in the country. So is that something that you might be interested in learning more about, or
yeah, that's
said yeah,
good.
okay. Because if it's
Yeah,
like Ethos is super expensive, I was like, yeah, from what I can see here, you're 49 years young. From your age, I mean, you don't seem too unhealthy. Ethos is pretty expensive. I know I could get you something better. And a
for
lot like
sure.
I don't make it like I don't point it towards them whenever I'm talking to them and trying to uh uh get like confront objections. And when I'm doing objection rebuttal, I don't say you, I say my clients. I always say that because it takes the tension off them. I always say a client that was in that similar situation of mine, and my clients XYZ. So it's more of a um kind of a I forget the word I'm trying to use, but it kind of takes the sales pressure off them.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And so basically you're addressing them, but you're
Yeah,
just
without
you're
using their
taking
name.
the
Yeah.
but it's saying indirectly. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
Julius,
exactly.
my
Yeah.
clients are in the same position when they have,
Yeah.
I one of my other clients has COPD. Here's,
Yeah. Yep.
here's what they did.
And like a lot of the time they say, "Oh yeah, I'm a smoker," and they kind of just like they just did not like that I was a smoker. I was like, "Yeah, it's sometimes some carriers. Oh well, hey John, you're just speaking to the wrong person. So I'm gonna help you get that fixed." One of my clients I helped out yesterday is a smoker. We were still able to get them something that made sense. It was within that budget. It's not
Nice.
not a big deal at all.
Nice. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. So I don't want to keep you I don't
No,
want to
you're
keep
good.
you, but this is really really good stuff, man. And we're gonna get this all up on the YouTube. here soon. But what else do you like? I'm just gonna talk about whatever you want to talk about, whatever you think the most valuable thing for people that are selling virtually, working leads, like what nugget can you give those people? I mean, I feel like you've already given them a ton, but what else do you think
Um,
people need to hear when they're selling virtually?
I would say, I don't know, like don't overthink it. I have a problem with sounding like with not having any confidence and kind of sounding desperate, and talking too fast. So just, I mean, again, it's easier said than done. Just work on kind of coming across as a confident problem solver, because if you're just coming across as a pesky salesman, pesky life insurance agent, I mean, you're not going to get anywhere. I've spoken with half a dozen people just like you. So if you come across as confident, as a problem solver, and the biggest thing is like if you come across as, hey man, if this isn't something you're looking for, if I can't solve your problem, like we'll part ways as friends. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want you to waste my time. So it's, as I said, it's a lot more transactional, but that's kind of what these leads are, and it works well for my personality. And yeah, just yeah, I would probably say come at it with confidence, not like cockiness, but like confidence with I am able to solve your issue. I've run into this before. Don't worry about it. I know this is a really vulnerable and stressful thing you're doing with life insurance, and no one enjoy. I don't enjoy talking about life insurance, right? But it's my job to make sure I can do the heavy lifting for you. I've run into this problem before. You have diabetes with insulin, not a big deal. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call some carriers, get some risk assessment done, making sure I can find the best coverage for you, and then we can circle back this afternoon at 4:30 to see if that makes sense for you, right? I said, okay, that'll be really helpful. So you come across confident as a problem solver, you're not going to have any issues, and just keep working on it. You know, you'll suck for a bit. I suck for a bit. I still suck sometimes. Just keep going. Worry about what you can control, about your input, and then everything else will fall into place.
Absolutely, bro. A plus, man. Thank you so much for being on here. And I think there's a ton of valuable stuff in here. So
Cool.
appreciate you, bro. Seriously, man. And keep kicking ass. And can't wait to see where you end up, in the year, dude. Like you might
Cool.
be top 10 or whatever. In
Hopefully.
Yeah, you're
Hopefully.
kicking ass, bro. Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man. And anything
I'll
we
see
can
you in
ever do to
Cabo
help.
a few
Yeah,
weeks.
dude, I know. I haven't even thought about it.
I think about it every day. I can't wait.
Me,
It's my first
I
trip.
is it? Oh, okay, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be so much fun. We're gonna
Yeah.
be we'll drink some beers.
Yeah.
But appreciate you, Julius. You're a stud,
Cool.
bro. Thanks again, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Let's go kick some ass this week. Thanks again, Julius.